James Charles may have just accidentally exposed what influencers really think about normal people. And honestly, I don't think this backlash is happening because he was mean. I think it's happening because for the first time in a long time, the mask completely slipped. Because when James Charles looked directly into the camera and mocked a woman for losing her job, he didn't sound like a creator having a bad day. He sounded weirdly comfortable. Like this wasn't an impulsive rant. It was how he genuinely sees people who aren't living inside the influencer bubble. And that is why the internet is freaking out right now. Because if you haven't seen this disaster yet, James got a DM from a former Spirit Airlines employee asking for help after getting laid off during the company shutdown. And instead of ignoring the message like literally every normal influencer on Earth would do, he turned on the camera and publicly humiliated her. But the worst part? It wasn't even what he said. It was how easy it came out of his mouth.
I just got a DM on here from a girl that said, "Good morning, James. I know you'll probably never see this, but if you could just take 1 minute to read it, would really mean a lot to me. I'm really struggling right now because Spirit Airlines just filed for bankruptcy and I have lost my job. Here's a GoFundMe link. Any donations help." I'm sure they do, sweetheart. I'm sure they do. You know what else would help you? Getting another job. Yeah, try that. Because in the time that it took you to copy and paste the same fuck-ass message to myself, who you don't follow, by the way, and probably 100 other influencers and celebrities, you could have applied for 100 other jobs, but you didn't because you're a lazy piece of shit and you're entitled. And you think that influencers and celebrities should fund your life for you. Why would I ever help you? You're not a fan. You don't even follow me. You've never supported me. This is your first time DMing. And you think that I'm gonna send you money because you lost your job? Oh my God, welcome to the real world, sweetheart. People lose their jobs every fucking day, and you're white, pretty, and able-bodied. You're in a much better position than a lot of other people out here who are trying clearly much harder to make a better life for themselves. Why would I you? Aside from that, 17,000 people lost their jobs at Spirit Airlines. Why do you think you need the GoFundMe? I can at least like 1% respect the mentality of closed mouths don't get fed, doesn't hurt to try. But honestly, it does hurt to try because now you pissed me off, okay? I'm not the one. Go find Mr. Reese. This is literally his entire shtick. I'm sure the next YouTube video is literally gonna be like, I rehired all 17,000 of the Spirit Airlines employees and it's gonna be the real life Hunger Games. The last one of them to leave the Spirit Airlines plane gets to be the CEO of the new company and gets a house and a car and $10 million that everybody else dies. Like, go find that video to compete in, baby. I'm not helping you. I'm not helping you. All you did was lost your job, okay? Welcome to the real world. I can at least understand if you were like, James, I'm a longtime fan. Here's a trillion years of DMs and my support for you. I love you. I'm suffering with a really rare genetic disease that there's no cure for, and I'm trying to raise money for myself and other people that have this. Maybe I would help. Maybe I would help because I love you and I appreciate you. This bitch, you lost your job? What are we gonna do? Nothing! I'm gonna do nothing. You know what you need to do? Go find a new one, girl. Put some effort into the workplace.
So the DM itself was honestly pretty harmless. Somebody who had just lost their job sent James a GoFundMe link asking for support while trying to survive unemployment. That's it. And whether you think influencers should donate to strangers or not is completely irrelevant here, because nobody was forcing James to help. He could have ignored it, deleted it, blocked it, sent $5, sent nothing. Literally any option would have been better than what he chose to do. Because instead, James started mocking the woman's voice, calling her lazy, entitled, and basically acting like losing your job is some tiny inconvenience people should just magically recover from overnight. And the craziest part is that he clearly thought people were going to agree with him. That's the detail nobody is talking about enough. He didn't upload that video nervously. He uploaded it confidently, smugly, like he expected applause, which tells you everything about how warped influencer reality becomes after years of internet fame.
If you're going to a stranger and asking them for money just because you're assuming they have a lot of money, they don't owe you anything. They don't owe you anything. I don't think people should feel guilted into donating things to people they don't know, especially in the age of scams and scammers and fraud. However, me personally, whenever I've received one of these DMs, I have never once thought to open up my camera and make a video about somebody who reached out to me on a long shot just to see, to make a video shaming them for their outreach, shaming them for a situation that's out of their control. I've never once thought to do that, and I'm pretty sure most creators who are of my size or larger that have received DMs like this have never thought to do that, because if your mind goes there, what does that say about you? Like, that's your reaction. You weren't born yesterday. You didn't spawn on this app yesterday with a following. I doubt that was the first time this has ever happened. It's just kind of weird.
And James is honestly the perfect example of what happens when somebody becomes famous before they ever experience normal adulthood. This is someone who blew up online as a teenager, became insanely wealthy young, and has spent years surrounded by assistants, managers, sponsorships, luxury trips, and millions of fans validating everything he says. At some point, influencers stop interacting with real-life consequences the same way normal people do. A layoff, to most people, means panic, rent stress, bills, food insecurity, fear. But to somebody who lives entirely inside the creator economy, it becomes abstract. Just another annoying DM interrupting their day between brand deals and Coachella content. And once you realize that, the rant starts sounding way darker. Because James genuinely talked about unemployment like it was a character flaw. Like struggling financially automatically means you're lazy. And people online instantly clocked that this wasn't just out-of-touch behavior. It was billionaire brain influencer logic leaking out in real time. But somehow, the situation got even worse once people noticed the massive hypocrisy underneath everything he was saying. Because influencers constantly ask audiences for money. Constantly. Buy the merch, use my code, shop my makeup line, watch my ads, click my affiliate links, subscribe to my Patreon, support my brand, build my career, fund my lifestyle. The entire influencer industry is built on monetizing emotional connection. They sell this image of being your relatable internet bestie. They tell audiences, we're family every single day because closeness equals profit. But the second somebody from the real world asks for empathy back, suddenly it's, welcome to the real world, sweetheart. That's why this controversy exploded beyond just James Charles haters. People saw the contradiction immediately. Influencers are allowed to emotionally monetize audiences 24/7, but if an unemployed person asks for help one time, they're suddenly a disgusting, entitled freeloader? It exposed something people have quietly suspected about influencer culture for years, that a lot of these creators actually resent the audiences they depend on financially. And then, James said the line that completely detonated the situation. Because in the middle of the rant, James tells the woman she's white, pretty, and able-bodied, and therefore in a better position than other people. And people online were genuinely stunned listening to it, because it sounded less like empathy and more like James ranking human suffering. Like he had mentally decided who deserves compassion and who doesn't. And the tone was just so unbelievably condescending. This multi-millionaire influencer sitting in a mansion lecturing laid-off workers about the real world was already insane enough. But adding this weird superiority complex on top of it made everything feel even uglier. Especially because James kept doubling down. He wasn't acting embarrassed, he was acting annoyed that people were offended, which is why the apology video that came next immediately made people suspicious.
It was rude, it was obnoxious, it was privileged, and most importantly, it was completely fucking unnecessary. When I saw that DM, I absolutely had the choice to ignore it and say absolutely nothing at all and move on with my day, but instead, I couldn't even tell you why. Her message just triggered me, and I decided instead to make a video about it. And I bashed her, and it was obnoxious, and I shamed her for asking for help in a situation where she was clearly really struggling, and this could have been her absolute last resort. I have no idea what was going on in her life, and I should have never assumed that she was just copying and pasting this DM as an easy way out. I don't know. I just don't know. Definitely sucks to receive messages from people that don't follow you and don't support you, treating you like our personal ATM or bank account. But what I'm sure sucks even fucking more is not knowing where your next paycheck is coming from and not being sure whether or not you're going to be able to put food on the table for yourself and your family. So it really doesn't matter what my intentions were behind making the video, because it came across as super fucking privileged and like I was basically shaming anybody that's unemployed for not trying hard enough to get a job. And I feel awful because that wasn't my intention, and it really hurt a lot of people, and I know that it's not that easy.
Because suddenly James had this miraculous overnight transformation where he perfectly understood every criticism people had. He called himself privileged. He admitted the video was unnecessary. He acknowledged unemployment struggles. He said he checked his privilege. And technically, yes, the apology hit all the correct notes. Almost too correct. Because people instantly noticed it sounded like he was just reading the top TikTok comments back to the audience word for word. The same guy who confidently screamed, "Get another job," 24 hours earlier was suddenly giving a perfectly polished PR-safe accountability speech. And viewers weren't buying it because the timeline made the motivation feel obvious. James didn't apologize when people on his page were uncomfortable. He apologized once the backlash escaped his audience bubble and turned into a full internet-wide conversation. That's when survival mode kicked in. And honestly, his response after the apology may have revealed even more than the original rant did. Because when people accused him of only apologizing due to backlash, James literally admitted the backlash made him second-guess what he said. Which is kind of insane when you think about it. Because how disconnected do you have to be for public humiliation to sound reasonable until the internet reminds you unemployed people are human beings? And that's why so many people aren't treating this as a one-time mistake. They're treating it like a pattern finally becoming impossible to ignore. Because this isn't even the first time James has publicly talked down to his own audience. People immediately started resurfacing another video where he mocked fans applying incorrectly for a job opening on his team. Instead of simply ignoring bad applications like every employer in existence, James got online calling applicants stupid, saying they lacked critical thinking skills, and publicly humiliating people who were literally excited for a chance to work with him. And suddenly, people started connecting the dots. The sarcasm, the superiority complex, the constant need to belittle people publicly for content, the weird pleasure he seems to get from embarrassing others. This controversy didn't create a new image of James Charles. It made people realize the signs were always there.
I'm gonna be hiring somebody new to my team soon, and I'm just starting the process of looking for this candidate now. I figured I would make a video about this just in case the right person happens to be watching, or if you know somebody that you think is the right person, feel free to send them this video or send them my way. Please send in your application. Now, obviously include your resume. My team will look over all the professional side of things, but what I wanna see are examples of content that you've created either for yourself, other content creators, or brands. And then I also want you to include an application video. Tell me about yourself. Tell me why you think you'd be great for this job. I wanna get to know you a little bit. And then I want you to include 3 different ideas. Now, please don't worry. I will not use anybody's ideas without paying them, but this is not exactly like a, oh, you're good at math, so you can be an accountant type of job position. This is very personal. So I want to hear what you would do if you were running the James Charles socials, so I know whether or not you are the right fit to join the team.
And honestly, TikTok may be the biggest reason he got away with it for this long. Because a huge portion of James's current audience is younger and came in after his older scandals. TikTok basically rebuilt his career by turning him into a funny, chaotic, unfiltered personality, instead of the deeply controversial YouTuber people were exhausted by years ago. But the danger with rebrands is eventually people start confusing unfiltered with authentic. And authenticity gets very ugly when someone's worldview is built entirely inside wealth, fame, and nonstop validation. That's why this backlash feels different from the usual James Charles drama cycle. People aren't just annoyed, they're disturbed. Because at a time when normal people are struggling financially, terrified of layoffs, stressed about rent, food prices, and jobs, watching a millionaire influencer mock unemployment like it's some personal moral failure hit a nerve in a way James clearly did not expect. And honestly, he'll probably survive this controversy too. Influencers almost always do. But I think something bigger changed here. Because once audiences stop believing you actually care about people, the relatable internet bestie act becomes almost impossible to sell ever again.